Okay, it's time to get the facts straight because I don't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers, and I want to make sure that every time I speak on my channel about these serious topics that I actually am coming with facts. So let's educate ourselves, because I have not read this article yet, about police shootings in the US, how they actually occur, who is actually the victim of them, when do they occur, etc. So let's begin reading. So 1,056 people have been shot and killed by police in the past year. This was last updated on June 21st, 2022. In 2015, the Washington Post began to log every fatal shooting by an on-duty police officer in the United States. In that time, there have been more than 5,000 such shootings recorded by the Post. After Michael Brown, an unarmed black man, was killed in 2015 by police in Ferguson, Missouri, a Post investigation found that the FBI undercounted fatal police shootings by more than half. This is because reporting by police departments is voluntary and many departments fail to do so. I wonder why. The Post data relies primarily on news accounts, social media postings, and police reports. Analysis of more than 5 years of data reveals that the number and circumstances of fatal shootings and the overall demographics of the victims have remained relatively constant. So, rate of shootings remains steady. Despite the unpredictable events that lead to fatal shootings, police nationwide have shot and killed almost the same number of people annually. Nearly 1,000 since the Post began its project. I want to stop right here and pause. All of these shootings are absolute, most of them. You know what? Let's not talk in totality. Most of these shootings are preventable because the circumstances that lead to these shootings are always the same. The police are in fear of their lives. The person confronting them either has a weapon or is assumed to have a weapon. And the only way that we can stop this is by lessening the number of weapons on the streets in America. We don't hear about these mass shootings or police shootings in other countries because police are less on edge and less trigger happy for the simple fact citizens have less guns. They are less likely to fear the citizenry if they know that the citizens, whatever, are not armed, right? In America, police do not have that luxury, and I feel for police. And I will say loudly and proudly, Blue Lives Matter. Blue Lives Matter. All lives matter. All lives matter. And Black Lives Matter too. The police are put in these situations because we allow a gun culture society to flourish where people are on edge. Police, citizens, everybody. And there will continue to be police shootings. There will continue to be mass shootings. There will continue to be the killing of police if we allow our citizens in America to continue to have guns. The Second Amendment is not a right. It shouldn't be a right. If you were to rewrite the Constitution knowing what would happen 200 years after its original inception, there's no way, with a good conscience, you should allow the Second Amendment to exist. Abolish it, repeal it, whatever, get rid of it. Probability theory may offer an explanation. It holds that the quantity of rare events in huge populations tends to remain stable absent major societal changes, such as a fundamental shift in police culture or extreme restrictions on gun ownership. So it says here that a fundamental shift in police culture, if you trained every police officer to not be, so trigger happy or to be anti-racist or whatever, it would not change, right? Because we have such a large country. They also say here that extreme restrictions on gun ownership would change. But I would argue against this point that the gun restrictions as we imagine them in the US are just, more background checks or raising the legal age or something like that. I think the most extreme measure, which has not been tried and which is unfathomable to Americans who have been brainwashed to think that gun culture is the norm and it's sane and it's a part of our rights and liberties and what ties us to Americanness, would definitely lower the amount of police shootings. Definitely. All right, so there's 1,000 total shootings in 2021. Same for the previous year, for the past year. In 2022, we're on track. Right now, there have been about 501 in 2022 as I'm recording this. And we are in May. This is in June. All right. So Black Americans are killed at a much higher rate than white Americans. What a surprise. Although half of the people shot and killed by police are white, Black Americans are shot at a disproportionate rate. They account for less than 13% of the U.S. population, but are killed by police at more than twice the rate of white Americans. Hispanic Americans are also killed by police at a disproportionate rate. The rate at which Black Americans are killed by police is more than twice as high as the rate for white Americans. So, there are, let's say, 1,630 Black Americans that have been killed by the police since the Washington Post has been counted, 1,102 Hispanic Americans, 3,902 white Americans have been killed. All right. And other groups of people, 244. So this is why this issue affects all Americans, white, black, Hispanic, everybody, because gun ownership in this culture has killed white Americans, black Americans, Hispanic Americans, everybody. This is everybody's problem. It's not just a black people's problem. Black people are in the front of this movement for Black Lives Matter, police accountability, and that sort of thing, because we're the ones who are facing the biggest front and the biggest brunt of this violence, state violence. Black Americans have always stepped up and saved America and pushed America to be as good as it can be. Now it's time for white Americans to do what they've always done throughout history, follow suit when a problem starts to affect them too, right? I'm saying this not just as a black American, which I am, of course, obviously, but as a person who cares about all people. I don't want to see anybody killed by the police. I don't want people to kill police. We should have peace in the streets. But the only way we will have peace in the streets is if we mitigate the number of guns. We have more guns than people, and it is sick. America is less safe than Iraq, bro. That is sad. That's sad. Most victims are young male. An overwhelming majority of people shot and killed by police are male, over 95%. More than half of the victims are between 20 and 40 years old. So young men, of course, this is an issue that deals with men. Men are more likely to get in trouble with the police, go to jail, that sort of thing, take unnecessary risks. I'm not saying that by nature, if we get rid of the guns, everybody's just going to be kumbaya and peaceful. But we can definitely lower the chances of amounts of young men dying. 7,131 have died so far since the WAPO has started counting. We can definitely lower that amount if we get rid of the guns. But apparently this is so extreme, right? Americans think this is un-American, right? Americanness is not tied to the pistol. What makes you American is caring about other Americans, caring about our ideals, making sure our children are safe, our elderly are safe, our loved ones are safe. Being an American is not tied to you owning a rifle, a pistol, the AR-15, the AK-47, whatever the fuck you have in your closet. That does not make you more American. All right. Shootings happen across the country. Police shootings have taken place in every state and have occurred more frequently in cities where populations are concentrated. States with the highest rates of shootings are New Mexico, Alaska, and Oklahoma. So whenever somebody wants to bring up Chicago, which is dumb, bring up New Mexico, Alaska, Oklahoma, or just say America. Just say America, because Chicago is in America. And this map shows us that this gun problem of police shooting people happens all over the country. And if we look at the map of gun violence, mass shootings, it's all over the country. It's almost exactly copy paste. So each circle on the map below marks the location of a deadly shooting happened in all 50 states. All 50 states. America is literally the embarrassment of the world. Literally the embarrassment. There are 712 shootings with unverified locations that are not shown on the map. Ain't that something? Ain't that amazing? We're number one. We're number one. We have so many shootings, we can't even show them on the map. So we could search the database. This database contains records of every fatal shooting in the United States by a police officer in the line of duty since January 1st, 2015. It is updated regularly as fatal shootings are reported and as facts emerge about individual cases. So, we'll cover more of these shootings because it's about time that we start talking about police on this channel. I want to. My goal with this channel is not to bash on police, not to bash on anybody, really. I just want better for my country. I want better for the United States. Our children deserve better. All citizens deserve better. Everyone deserves to live in a safe, peaceful country where they can live their lives how they want, not in fear of a gun. My name is Simon Hill, and thank you.